Welcome back to Fish Tank.
Welcome back to Fish Tank.
Last time we had a really great adventure with Tagora Gorgic, who I liked better than I thought.
Yeah, he was a secret vampire fanboy and liked other conniving, skeevy people.
He was thirsty.
So we fit in really well.
Yeah. And now we got Vikare Ratite.
Victor Ratatouille.
Victor Ratatori. Vikare, that reminds me of Valkyrie a little bit, but I don't think that's the origin of his name. So anyways, I'm MTJester.
I'm docbe.
And we're gonna play with Vikare. That sounds like victory.
Vikare.
Why are we by our crashed ship again? Are you gonna read and I do the voice this time?
Well,
or should I? What?
I mean, you probably want to do a voice, right?
I don't care.
The voices are fun.
I don't care. It's up to you.
It's probably best for you to stop trying to predict what's going to happen to you at this point. Everything that's happened so far on this planet has been kind of chaotic.
Just a little bit.
In fact, you're ready for something more familiar. Your shitty-ass, crashed-ass fucking spaceship.
Your shitty-ass, crashed-ass.
You head back to the side of your abandoned spaceship. Sure, it's smashed beyond repair, but there's a little slice of home. It's you, on the glass. Maybe at least one or two pieces of it are fixable. You march off in what you think is the right direction.
To do what? Fix it? Probably.
At least one or two pieces. But when you get there, you're not alone. A little guy in a hat and big goggles is standing there, gazing at your spaceship. Maybe assessing it?
A little guy in a hat.
As you watch, he breaks off a couple gears and stuffs them in his pocket.
Hey, asshole! That's mine!
Hey! You clear your throat loudly.
What kind of a good galloping gravy?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Just sound like you're like fucking, you know, like old Disney movies, how they had the one guy that was just like, you know, when was the last time you watched Lady and the Tramp?
It's been a hot second.
There's that one guy that's just like,
good galloping gravy. That guy? Like that?
Well, a little bit less, a little bit lighter than that, but you were good the first time.
Okay, I don't remember the first time, but
the angle you're already taking.
Okay, I think he looks like a nerd, but that's me.
I mean, obviously he's a nerd.
Obviously, I like him. Why, I've never seen the likes of you before. What strange wonders the heavens have rained down upon us today.
You sound like a radio talk show guy from that time. I like it.
He looks like a radio talk show. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. But that's okay. I like it. It's like kind of like that. Look up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's just me.
It's just me. You quickly lose any indignation you're in. Is that indignation? I know, like.
Yes, you're right. Indignation.
Okay. It just doesn't seem to roll very well when I say it.
Yeah, don't trust me to pronounce things. I know words, I don't say them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't talk to anybody, and I talk about...
I do nothing but talk all day, and I still get all my words wrong. And people question my credentials, and then I'd roast them.
I maybe talk about 15 minutes a day, at most. You quickly lose any indignation you were building up. He's smiling at you, and his words seem at least somewhat amicable.
Amicable. Ami means friendship.
Amicable.
That's a rude word. A little rude kid.
Maybe you got this all wrong. Maybe this is the next person you're gonna get chummy with.
I'm gonna friendmance everyone. Everyone on Alternia is going to be my friend.
I'm gonna climb right on top of that mountain. You cut right to the chase. No point in beating around the ground leaf covering. That's probably what they call it on this planet.
The bush?
Yeah. You let this guy know you're the proprietor of the spaceship he's stripping, and you're in mighty need of a new friend.
And repairs. A friend, eh? A bosom companion, a pal about town? I've seen nary a Tommen, Dickus, or Harry round these parts who might fit the bill.
You were kind of trying to imply that this guy could be your new friend. Is it too late to say that now? You try to imply it with your eyebrows. Just go to town with your eyebrows.
Go to town with them. As for me, day-to-day matters here on Alternia interest me not. For I care only about hurtling at great speeds through the boundless expanse of the cosmos. That's right, space. It is space flight that consumes my every waking thought and all my ardor. As in accordance with my duty as a future Alternian crusader, of course.
Oh, he's
No
cute.
oxygen, no wind, a total vacuum. That is the life for me, all right. Flying in space, above the atmosphere, not within the realms of gravity's purview. Wouldn't have it any other way. I do like him. He's got a
boldness
vitality.
to him.
Yeah.
Like
He's vivacious.
Walt Disney's like Futureland.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Right. You get the feeling you're missing something. This guy seems really defensive about his interest in spaceflight. Like maybe he's trying to say something totally different.
I didn't get that.
Whatever it is, his internal conflict clearly takes precedence over your issues.
This man is a puzzle
Of
we
which
need
you
to
have
solve. Of which you have many, yes.
He seems like a great candidate for a friend, despite the fact that his voice sounds like it belongs to a newsreel about World War II.
We were
nailed it.
right!
We got it.
I have just one query for you, sport, if I may be so bold. Do you also like spaceflight? Do you yearn to see the moon shining above the clouds, whipping by as you chase and tease the impish western wind? And then also keep going past that up into space?
Till you're not so sure about spaceflight because you're into regular flight.
But we came from space.
Doesn't matter. Why? His eyes widen. You see them sparkle. See, he doesn't want to go into space. He wants to stay below the clouds.
He wants to
fly
do normal flight.
regular.
Regular. I got you.
Regular.
Ah, I see. You're an individual with a more sophisticated palate. A real connoisseur of the buoyant arts you are. Someone like you could never be satisfied with the anemic affair of traveling through the inky blackness of the galaxies. I believe a jaunt to my hive is in order.
Oh,
Let's let's giggle. Let's get a wiggle on.
There was a lot going on there, but you understand that he wants you to follow him.
I'd bone him.
Especially with that bomber jacket. Like,
I know. Remember when I had that bomber jacket that was like
remember
15
when
sizes too
bomber
big?
jackets were the bomb and everybody fucking wants a bomber jacket?
You mean like
I
right
like
now?
Yeah, honestly, that outfit would be an outfit that maybe not like the hat thing going on,
I don't
but
know.
I like the orange is a nice color.
I like the
I don't
grandiose
think that looks great in
facial
turtlenecks, but like
expressions.
with the I wish I had facial expressions. Okay, the friendly guy takes you to a building where all of the rooms seem to be bouncing on spindly-looking stilts. I had a dream like that once. The hive soars above you up into the sky.
Wow, I wonder what his thing is. What his shtick is. I can't figure it out.
I can't figure it out.
He's got a little
Gestures.
windmill like Tavros does.
Yeah. He gestures to a little platform attached to a pulley system, like a rudimentary elevator. It brings you up to a small, dark room. His house is pretty much what you would have guessed. The walls are covered in star maps and pictures of spaceships.
An ugly green and purple from the
He thinks
90s.
Right? Like, you notice that many of them had cheery slogans splashed across them saying things like, explore the galaxies because you're required to fulfill your duty to society, and enlist, travel, make friends, don't get cold.
That's yours.
Your new friend doesn't seem too happy as he looks around the place.
Just the hive for a dedicated spacecraft enthusiast, isn't it?
You
That
nod.
place.
You're not sure what this is leading to, but no one ever went wrong relying on non-specific and plausibly deniable agreement.
Yeah.
Relatable.
Who am I fooling? You've rumbled me, potential new chum. What you see before you is a collage of falsehoods. I'm nothing but an avatar of baloney. In truth, the myriad of temptations and desires of space do nothing to tickle my biscuit. The thought of participating in the glorious eternal conquest gives me the screaming mimmies. My interest lies in something a little lower down.
He reaches up and peels back one of his posters. Behind it is another poster, this one showing a view of clouds in the night sky.
I love his face.
Me too.
Behold, my shame. The truth
It's a dick.
It's a dick. The truth is, I long to toss and turn within the grasp of Mistress Gravity's sweet fingers. To traverse the sky, can such a thing be? Imagine flying within the confines of Alternia's very atmosphere, defying the very conventions of what we all know to be true. Instead of down, up. Instead of falling, soaring. Can you imagine? Can you see it before you? Would you ever dream of the existence of such a flying machine?
Tell him airplanes exist.
Airplanes do exist, sir. We'll save. Yes. Because he might die. You never know.
He's probably gonna die.
I brought you here to show you my truth. And you treat me to mockery? It's a bit dramatic. An airplane? A plane that floats in the air? Flying machines are a serious business. I think you should leave. Yep, we lost that one.
Set him.
I told you. Okay, load.
I'm not very good with the sensitive ones.
Tell him you've never heard of such a thing. Ah, but the future is ours to build, my strange-hued and unhorned comrade. What do you think? Does it excite you? Do my ideals rattle your buttons? Sure.
You can't help but notice that he's referring to you as a chum and a comrade, but friend still hasn't made an appearance yet. Do synonyms count? Or is it just a tick of his speaking style? You look as earnest as you can and nod vigorously. You're almost positive this is the thing he really wants you to express interest in.
We're such good listeners. Aha! The truth will out. You and I share this furtive passion for the indulgences of the air. A dialogue between a troll, a frying machine, and the stars. Did I say frying machine?
Yeah, you did. I wasn't going to comment on it. But...
A flying machine and the stars. But further away from the stars than we would be in a spaceship.
Oh.
I cannot stress enough how different of a thing this is.
You can't decide between nodding and shaking your head here, so you furrow your brow and do your best to look thoughtful. Like maybe you are contemplating the differences.
We don't need that comma before the here.
What?
It makes it harder to read. Go on.
Did you just English teacher on this shit?
I do that all the time. I see commas annoy me when they're out of place in video games. I'm like, come on. I'm for hire. I will copy edit your whole video game.
I'm very fond of using way too many commas, to be honest. Like, I know I'm bad at that, but at the same time, I got a stilted kind of thinking style, I guess. So I'm just like, pause. This fellow's demeanor towards you is definitely shading towards more temperate climate zones.
Ah, yes. Temperate rainforest up in here.
However, certain physical needs are starting to assert themselves. You're pretty banged up from your previous adventures, but right now the aching of your stomach is screaming for attention.
Please
You've got to
feed me.
take a shit.
Oh, you gotta take a shit?
You humbly ask your friend to be if there might be any chance of getting a bite to eat.
But of course! Why, if I'd known you had a rumbling in this old digestive bladder, I would have shut my yapper tooth sweet.
Same, my dude.
Time for a good old nosh, a yummaroony. What ho! Now how should we obtain the victuals? We could venture into the great unknown, which is to say, out of my hive. Or we could stay here, beholden to whatever twists and turns Lady Fate has in store for us in the nutrition block. What say you, new timer?
Fuck, dude, I don't know. Okay, let's go to Waffle House.
Okay.
From your budding chum's word, it sounds like he himself isn't sure that there's any food in the house. Best to risk it and go outside. You tell him your decision.
Top choice, buckaroo. Foraging is how I like his goggles a lot. Foraging is how I while away most of my time after all. There's just one small matter to trouble the old brain power. If we're venturing out into the unknown yonder, we should obtain some chow for my Lussus as well. He'll be a real grumpy Gustav if he goes too long without his nosh.
You draw yourself up proudly. It's taken a lot of bizarre run-ins and harrowing close shaves, but you know all about Lussuses. You inquire
It's supposed
about
to be Luci, but whatever.
Lustopates. It's Greek. You inquire about Gustav, wasn't it?
Ho ho, what a card you are! No, my Lucis. I call him Canary.
He whips out a photo. It shows a smaller version of himself, his horns nothing but stubs. A far too big pair of aviator goggles slipping off of his nose.
Where's the picture?
He's showing it to you.
I want to see it.
Behind. Well, you're looking at him. You can't look at him and at the photo at the same time. Standing behind him is a large white fowl, big scraggly wings folded back against its body. You want to say an emu? Whatever it is, it's definitely not a canary. Its beak touches the top of your pal's head with something that might count as affection.
He's not a persnickety sort. All kinds of bugs and leaves will tickle his fancy. Shall we away? Shall we greet the horizon that rushes forward to meet us with astounding grace? Shall we give ourselves over to the current of time's great river?
Sure, you tell him. You can leave the house. It's getting a lot easier to pay attention to only the words this guy says that actually make sense. You kind of enjoy his way of speaking, though. If nothing else, it gives you the feeling that he's really excited about this food question going on together.
Yeah.
Your alien pal leads you back down through the pulley system and outside again. The trip is not so easy on your bruised ribs. The thing about walking is, when you walk, your body moves.
What?
The whole thing. You've had better times, is all you're saying. You indicate as much to your companion.
Oh boy, I hear ya. Moving while attached to alternative surface is the worst kind of hooey. The moment when an autonomous fight is invented trembles even closer to the present. Can you hear it approach? The wail of a distant klaxon, the call to adventure. It beckons us forward through the years, a golden thread stretching ever onward to that glorious inevitability.
That's not what you meant, but his excitement cheers you up a little. Maybe you'll feel better in the future when somebody invents flight on this planet.
I'm pretty sure flight hasn't been invented on this planet. Like, didn't we get a hoverboard when we were playing Hive Swap? Just saying. I'm pretty sure that was a hoverboard.
That's not flight, that's hovering.
Uh-huh.
Did we read that? I don't think I read that.
Yeah, you did.
Oh. Sorry, I have, like, short-term amnesia. Certainly by the time either you'll be... certainly by that time, you'll either be further along in your healing or dead. I'm like... I saw two ethers next to each other, and then all of a sudden I'm like...
Yeah, loading.
Am I dead?
There is a lot of ethers in this paragraph. I will give you that.
It is. It's just like you look inside of a circus mirror or whatever, and everything's distorted, but like only a little bit. So you're kind of just like, huh?
Sure.
Certainly by that time, you'll either be further along in your healing or dead. Either way, thinking about that future brings a little rosy glow to your heart. You ask your buddy where you're going next.
Waffle House!
Waffle House.
The world is our bivalvular sea critter. We'll
Pick
go
up
wherever
some
the
vodka.
wind calls our names. Troll vodka. They're underage,
Troll
Diane.
vodka.
Every one of them, underage.
I mean, if you're walking to Waffle House, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know what that means, actually.
Great.
But if it's a short-term answer you're inquiring after, there's a specific plant the canary likes to eat. It's got white petals and leaves as red as a troll's most lurid desires. Could you give a holler if your bulbs fall on something of that persuasion?
You agree to keep an eye out. You continue trudging along beside him, wincing whenever your steps jolt your injuries. Maybe a little conversation will help distract you. You ask your new friend what got him so interested in flying in the first place.
What could be better? Up there, free of worldly concerns, the wind in your face and the horizon at your back. Seeing the continents spread out below you. Finally, feeling that your personal aesthetic is appropriate for the given circumstances.
You chew over this one for a minute or two. It seems like what really makes this guy tick is the travel and adventure thing. Just a guess.
He's really hyped up Jake.
Yeah, except like...
Aviator Jake.
I don't know, it's a slightly different era.
No, it's different. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, what was that one movie with Katharine Hepburn with
I don't even fucking know.
the
Let's
African
continue.
Queen? Michael and I watched that. We rented it from the library at the Academy and watched it in the music video.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's just what you're getting from his general demeanor and pretty much everything he's said up until now. You're nervous to bring up anything that might make him dislike you, but in the interest of bonding, you forge ahead. Aren't there, you say with apprehension, maybe some similarities between flying and space travel? Like maybe being in a spaceship could satisfy some of these urges?
And then he just smacked you.
What?
There may be some superficial similarities to trick the common troll, but in essence, the blood pusher and soul of each, as different as night and day, as a mountain and a ditch, a star and a mud puddle. Don't get a fellow wrong, space travel is fine. Well, it's the only way to satisfy our bloodthirsty and nearly immortal overlords. And I look forward to such a time when I can be of service. And the eternal millstone grind of intergalactic conquest. But it's missing the punch, the pizzazz, the kaboom, the trunk beast honk of it all.
Just as you'd feared, you've stepped in it now. You're struggling for response when out of the corner of your eye, you spot a cluster of white flowers.
Gasp.
Relieved, you point them out to your companion, who races over to gather them. But when he holds one up, you can see it has blue leaves, not red. Your shoulders droop. Seems like you're a colorblind bitch after all. Seems like all you've been doing is disappointing your buddy. It's been so nice to you. Or at least that's what you think you've been read between the lines of his confusing speaking style.
Fear not, my smooth-headed compatriot. These are not the luscious rations we sought, but this plant is people chow. What I mean to say is we can eat it. Since we are people, it's food for people, not food made of people. To be clear.
He comes back with a fistful of the flowers and hands you one of the blue leaves. You stuff it in your face as fast as you can.
Yum.
Yum, 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 yum. You're not at all sure that food that's safe for your buddy will be safe for you as well. But at this point, you don't have much to lose. Besides, with the way your stomach is groaning, it might as well be perfectly seared steak. You put it in your mouth.
And die.
Yum, 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 yum. Chewing on the leaf, you feel even more affectionate towards the guy than before. You were worried that this trip was just turning into an excuse for him to run some kind of household errand, but he really did find you something to eat.
Good for him.
You are desperate to find ways to show him that you understand his interests. You want to connect to him on a deep soul level. Anything to get him to look at you with that treasured glow of friendship in his eyes.
That
You can't see them. Whenever he mentions space travel, he talks about how it's something that he has to do, some kind of necessary obligation. So maybe there's a reason he's fixated on an activity that's kind of similar, but just a little different. I don't know. I do agree that space travel and like
Flying
are kind of different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only experienced one of the two, but I can assume like
Yeah.
there's some differences probably.
Seems that way, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't want to do the required thing, the space conquest, but doesn't have it in him to rebel entirely all of the way. Maybe airplane flight, or whatever similar thing he is envisioning, is a compromise between what he has to do and what he wants to do.
We're a deep thinker.
A balance like all must find in order to live as an individual in a society that shapes one's desires from birth. You cautiously open your mouth, heart pounding. You venture to ask your pal if he maybe would rather not satisfy the demands of his bloodthirsty overlords.
Gasp!
If maybe a part of him wants to get into his flying machine and, well, leave for real.
Dot, 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 dot. That's...
He seems taken aback. Maybe you should never have said it. What a huge mistake. You've probably pushed his friendship out of your reach for good now.
He's very, very
Eat
dramatic.
the flowers and run. Panicking, you point to the side, yelling that you see a big field of white flowers in that direction. Your potential friend leaps to action, seemingly also glad to be given a reason not to answer this question. He races forward in the direction you indicated.
Wow, this guy is so, like...
In a matter of seconds, there's a yelp and your new acquaintance vanishes. Instantly, you realize your arrow. You didn't look at where you were pointing. He's
died.
Dead. While walking, you unwittingly come close to the edge of a large cliff, which your companion has now disappeared over. You killed him. You race to the side, your stomach flooding with fear. This is absolutely the opposite of what you wanted. You look down in horror. Your friend now looks approximately how you felt when you first crash landed on this dark planet. He's conscious, his face frozen in shock, but one of his legs is twisted underneath him in a nasty way. You may not be familiar with his alien anatomy, but you're almost positive that it shouldn't look like that.
Why are we so good at killing people?
He's dead. He's dead. You call out to him in distress. Sure, he's going to castigate you for your mistakes. The strangeness of his language won't make it hurt any less to lose this guy's trust forever. We just sent him off a cliff, too.
I like how the dialogue is, like, lower.
Right?
What ho! Kaloo! Kalay!
His voice floats up from the ground below, weak but somewhat jovial? Is it possible he's not angry?
Oh, joyous happening! Oh, delight for the body and spirit! Did you see? Did your being absorb what occurred before your very visage? I flew! Soared through the air! Just for a moment, but it happened. An ecstasy like none I've ever known.
You hesitate. Is it really possible that he could be taking this so well? That maybe your big fuck up was a step in the right direction after all? It's definitely a little worrying to hear him celebrate a dangerous fall, but none of that matters if you can secure his friendship at last.
My strange associate, come on down here. We will celebrate in grand fashion this eve. How did you know that a brief sojourn through unfettered air would bring me such joy? You are a fine fellow and a truly superb friend.
Okay, first things first, let's go get the bone saw. And then you're heartless with joy. He said it. Of course, now you have to find some way to climb down the cliff with your messed up ribs, not to mention figuring out how to transport somebody with a broken leg back to the house. You're not really sure if that's possible or when the adrenaline that's got you this far will give out and force you to succumb to your own pain. But with a night full of difficulties ahead of you, you couldn't ask for a better balm than knowing you'll face them hand in hand with your friend in an impromptu amputation, assuming he didn't hurt his hands as well. No matter, you did it.
Oh.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah, we did it, I guess. That's funny.
Well, I don't know, he's happy, I
He
guess.
took it better than Tavros did.
Huh?
A lot of
Well, that's because
Brownblood seem
only
to fall
one
off
leg
of...
was his,
Yeah, I guess so.
like,
They seem to fall off of cliffs quite often.
yeah, that's kind of a problem. You think they'd be a little bit more aware of the cliff issue.
Like, danger, cliff here.
Danger, danger, high cliff.
We keep trying to murder our friends. On accident.
We're not doing a very good job at it, except for
No.
that one guy.
Except for that one guy. Anyway.
And then, what's her face, where we murdered everybody but her.
Everybody. Yeah, we murdered quite a lot of people in that.
there was a lot of blood in our hands.
Oops.
Yeah. There's like, comment, subscribe if you like this video. Please watch the other videos in this installment, as well as maybe other games that are interesting to you as a person.
That was beautiful.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.